Hey there guys, this is Robin Hood and Superman Guy, and today we are back with more of the Napoleon Total War tournament, but this time it is the first battle we're showing you from round 2 of the tournament. So, Zuper, who's playing in this one?
Alright, here we're going to have Johannes playing as the Ottomans. I imagine you're looking at them now.
Yep,
And across the field, you'll be seeing Azrail playing as the Prussians.
yep, so both of these guys won their first round battle, and they are back here to try to get into the semifinals of this tournament. And today they decided, out of the maps I gave that they could play from, to use the Italian grasslands map. Pretty flat map, scattered trees, and then there are two semi-like plateau-like hills in the center of the map. And then there's a few scattered towns as well.
And if you'll remember with these two players, they both won their round 1 matches pretty handily. So we actually should be in for a very good competition here.
Yeah, both these guys did well, and Azrael once again is going to be fighting an Ottoman army. He fought an Ottoman rush build in the first battle. I don't remember who he was playing though.
It was against Russ's God, I believe.
Russ's God, yeah. But anyways, we'll go ahead and take a look at that Ottoman army. So Johannes here has brought on his left flank two mounted cavalry rifle units there. The mounted Nizam Sadit, and I can't pronounce those things right. Someone told me how to pronounce them once, but it's just hard to remember some of these, there's so many different units in these games. But up front, he's got a Bashi bazooks, and I believe he has 4 of them across his whole line there. And then he has 2 light infantry units followed by 2 line infantry units. And then in his center, he's got another 2 line infantry units and 1 more light infantry. He brought a historical general here, Ibrahim Basha, there in the green walking by. And then on his right flank, he has 2 more line infantry units. And I believe that actually, yeah, that's it there for infantry. For cavalry, he has a Sifai cavalry there. And in the center, he's got another Sifai cavalry and 2 of those Salatar guard units. So that's his whole army, and as you can see, he is very quickly moving forward and taking these central hills. But anyways, Zuper, you want to go ahead and go through the Prussian army of Azrael?
So starting on the Prussian left, we've got 3 units of Prussian Fusiliers leading the movement forward, and they're followed by 3 of Musketeers. Behind them is a unit of Cuirassiers and 2 units of Cuirassiers. Nope, I lied. 1 of Cuirassiers, 1 of Lancers. And holding the Prussian center is going to be 2 units of Foot Guard. And to the right of them, there's going to be a unit of Prussian Fusiliers to do some skirmishing behind them. There's going to be 2 units of Lancers and 1 of Cuirassiers. And another Cuirassiers on the far right. And then standard general staff behind it all.
Yep.
It started out as a very symmetrical army.
And then in the center, out of hiding, came 2 units of Musketeers and another Prussian Fusilier. So I believe that brings the total to 5 Prussian Fusilier there for the skirmishing
that's what it should
component.
be.
Yep.
I was
As you
counting
can see-
before things began.
Yeah, and he's moving up some as well. At this point, he's given up these hills. On this map, that isn't that big of a deal. If your opponent is to get on one of these ledges and shoot down on you, it can be bad, but these hills don't have that much access. There's 2 narrow choke points on the front, and then the other hill over here is the same thing, just basically turned sideways in comparison to the other, and the Prussian army is nowhere near here, so Johannes has a very spread out formation in comparison.
Which is sort of an interesting choice given his army, and namely being the Ottomans.
Yeah, he definitely has a rush component, but unlike in the last battle, his actual infantry, standard line infantry and skirmishing component is a little bit stronger. He also brought a stronger cavalry contingent than Russ's God's Ottoman army. So, same faction, different build. The Ottomans are versatile in that, more so than other factions, because most factions can't field a rush army. I mean, you can always melee charge, but
Yeah,
not
typically
specific
not gonna
melee
go well.
units. Yeah, unless you're Russia.
Unless you're Russia, then there's a chance. But even then, you're better off like playing the game and not just melee charging.
Yeah, and it looks like Azrael here, moving up a unit of musketeers and one of Prussian Fusilier, which just went into hiding in the trees here on the right of the Ottoman line. Now, there is one unit of line infantry facing them, but at the moment, this is kind of interesting because these two units here, I mean, yeah, that's a little bit of firepower, but it's really not that much. The angle of the hill negates the range of those Prussian Fusilier, and they're not very supported. They're kind of by themselves out there. Although he is bringing over a Lancer unit and a Cuirassier.
And I'd like to note at this point, in the other matches we've typically seen skirmishing begin at this time. And these players aren't particularly close to really starting skirmishing. And you'll see this with really high-level players. They do a lot of posturing because it's such a position-based game.
Yeah, and we should see more of that as we get into round 2, and especially some of the semifinals, and especially the finals, which, quick note for those of you who didn't know, the finals are going to be best 2 out of 3, so whatever 2 players manage to make it there will be fighting each other possibly 3 times to see who wins that, but I believe the setup phases of these battles is probably going to get longer. There's a little bit more at stake, and people really want to make sure they have a good position before they enter the battle. And of course, right here, there's no real reason for Azrael to attack the Ottoman position, and the Ottomans, you know, they want to take their time moving forward.
Although you can note that Azrael's making a move on the Ottoman mounted rifles.
Yeah, it looks like he's got a Lancer unit, or 2 Lancer units actually.
Yeah.
And he is successfully going to rout those mounted rifles, but the one Lancer unit got shredded on the charge there, and now they're taking fire from some light infantry.
Yeah, the way he actually attacked those mounted rifles was pretty clever. He led with a single unit of Lancers well before the other, so that they soaked up all the fire from both units, from the first volley, from both units of the mounted rifles. And then the second unit of Lancers came in unhindered.
Yeah, and it looks like on the far left of the line, the Ottomans are pushing in some on that small, isolated section of the Prussian force. They've got a melee unit charging in, and there those guys come down through the woods. They are hitting the Prussian Fusilier there. And there's some Prussian cavalry involved as well, a Cuirassier, which is getting charged in the back by some Safai cavalry.
Which is gonna take down basically anything.
Yeah, and you can see their morale is going down pretty quickly. And then the Ottoman line infantry on the top of the hill has the position. And those Bashi bazooks there, with being in melee, these musketeers and units are not going to handle that well against them now that they can't fire.
And the trees is really the best place for any melee exclusive unit.
Oh yeah, it definitely provides some cover as you're moving in. And again, the angle of that hill, had that been on flat ground, Prussia's Fusiliers there, the light infantry units, could have probably shredded that melee rush, but that small isolated portion got taken out. So that's going to be, I mean, that's by no means the end of the battle, but that is a decent loss there for Azrael's forces.
Yeah.
And at this point, the benefit that Azrael has, he still does have some very strong units. If I were him, and it looks like he might be bringing his forces a little bit more together, he's definitely pulling back on the left, but it might be helpful for him to pick a section of the Ottoman army and try to balance things out by taking it out, because you can see the majority of the Ottoman armies over there. He could probably knock out this section on the right flank of Prussia pretty quickly.
Yeah, by leaving that small contingent unsupported against the hill, he sort of left them perhaps as bait even. And as a result of that, it has spread out the Ottoman army quite a bit.
Yeah, and right here he's getting some crosshair into these other Bashi bazooks there. And again, I apologize if I am pronouncing these wrong. That is one thing I will never admit to being good at, because I am not. But those crosshairs getting into that unit, cavalry is a very good unit to take that down, but these light infantry have now opened fire. So I almost would have kept that cavalry going into these light infantry, because they can't form a square formation, so that would have prevented them from firing. There's no Ottoman cavalry near, and it would have allowed him to move up these foot guards even more, which they are now getting to fire some. You can see those crosshairs still moving in the trees. And these light infantry are going to move up and start firing on the foot guards, it seems.
And it seems Azrael's quickly adjusting his line to better face that light infantry.
Yeah, and that light infantry is going to pull back here, which is smart. They've got, they've got the range. Why not? Why not use it? This standard unit of infantry over here on the far left, though, they're going to fall back too. But you can see they were getting pretty thrashed by the foot guards pretty quickly.
At this point, Azrael really is falling onto his right flank, that being the Ottoman left.
Yeah, and these...
really leaving the Ottoman right behind on that hill.
Yeah, these cuirassiers are still going strong in these trees, although now they're hitting a square. So that's probably going to be the end of them. This guy is just riding in front of a line of fire and surviving.
And note at this point, Johannes is bringing his 2 units of Sificab back behind the Prussian lines.
On the far left? Those units?
Yeah.
Yeah. Far left of Prussia.
Yes.
Yeah, they're moving through the trees here now. And Azrael is falling back even more. It looks like he's trying to organize his lines. And at this point, Johannes is bringing forward his forces, as you can see. So he's kind of tightening the circle now. So if Azrael wanted to knock out a flank, he'd have to work on it pretty quickly.
And I still think it holds true that the Ottoman left is the weakest point.
Yeah, definitely. There's only some light infantry there. Although at this point, I don't see any Prussian cavalry. So
it would be a very tough approach.
Yeah, if he was able to push hard with infantry here, he's even got all of his lights here, and Johannes did not bring that many lights. I believe he only brought 3, of which I see one of them is over in the middle, but the 2 are right here. Azrael could easily put all of his rifles on this flank and take out these 2 units pretty quickly, and then he could start trying to reverse this, pushing back towards the Ottoman center. I think that's almost certainly his best move at the moment. Or at the same time, he could push in the center, knowing that the rifles won't be that strong on his flank, and try to use his rifles and line infantry combined to take out the center. Though I think, keeping yourself from being surrounded is always a good option.
And approaching through trees is always a dubious prospect.
Yeah. So at this point, it looks like he is splitting his Fusilier, which, I mean, yeah, he wants to get the first shot everywhere, but I actually think this is going to weaken him. He could have... I definitely think his best option would have been to knock out this flank, and it's only going to get harder at this point. These other infantry units are coming to reinforce that, but for the time being, there was a gap there. And it looks like he's going to start pushing forward a little bit here with a musketeer, 2 musketeer units, and his Fusilier.
Although at this point, things are looking pretty dire for Azrael.
Yeah, I mean, it's not over yet, but he is very much on the defensive of this one.
And there's not a whole lot of room left to retreat. He's nearing the edge of the map.
Yep, and there's a sole unit of Bashi bazooks here charging forward, and there you saw it. That's what I was talking about earlier. These units, if they, if he had had the range advantage on the left, could have shredded them, but he actually sent his general forward there to fight them, and that's a risky move. It looks like he's going to make it out, but he took some unnecessary losses there. And in the center, a melee rush making it to the Fusilier. He's using this as an opportunity to pull back his musketeers and fire into that unit. And it looks like that's going to work. That unit's going to rout. But at the same time, the Ottomans really tightening the noose here.
Yeah, the early well, relatively early loss of the Prussian cavalry is really doing a number on him at this point in the match.
Yeah, and these Safai cavalry here just got an excellent charge on this musketeer unit from the rear. Took them down to 50 men, and they got hit in the front at the same time. So, wow, the Prussian army just kind of melting. He really got hit from all angles very quickly. That was a swift blow by the Ottomans.
And the Prussian foot guard on the Ottoman right is now getting hit by some more Sifi Cav.
Yep, and all that's going to do is keep them from firing. They're going to go ahead and shatter. So at this point, only the Prussian right remains, and I don't think there's really any coming back from this. These men have low morale, and they're getting hit in the back by some melee units, and of course fired at from the front.
Yeah, this is basically the end here.
Yeah, and there it goes, the last unit routing. So very well played by Johannes there. And a few mistakes on Azrael's part, probably mistakes on both players' part, as always happens. Those rifle cavalry got taken out early, but this time Johannes is going to take it. So good game to him, good game to Azrael. Sorry that you had to encounter the Ottoman rush there twice. Pulled through once.
Handily,
yeah. But it was a very good game. So that was a fun one to watch. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Good game to Azrael. Hopefully we'll see you in a later tournament. And Johannes, we will be seeing in the semifinals here in the next round, round 3. So we'll let you guys know who he is fighting soon when we bring more videos. And let's see, did you notice anything specific that needs to be said in that battle?
I do think it's kind of interesting that the Ottoman army fielded the same general as the other Ottoman army. Both Rasisgad and Johannes both brought Ibrahim Basha.
Yeah, that is kind of funny. And I think Johannes here brought a pretty full army, it looks like. So I think he might have just had some leftover money room to bring that general, but maybe they planned that. Not together, obviously, but just, maybe there's some benefit to having. There's always a benefit to having a historical general. It just depends on if you want to pay for them or not. The morale penalties are always great.
Yeah.
But you can see there, Azrael, his forces only getting 484 kills, and that's not going to be enough to do it. I think what really put him down was actually losing the left flank there. Just those few units and those 2 units of cavalry he had in there. That hurt him, and his other cavalry did a good charge on the right. I think maybe attacking those mounted rifles. Yeah, he didn't want to deal with them later, but that might have been a little bit hasty. He did end up losing those Lancer units basically as a result of that. But I think his best chance to win it would have been to take advantage of the fact that Johannes was spread out, and he could have at least done some major damage and got out of being surrounded there. He could have pushed on one of the flanks.
Yeah, and it struck me that whenever Azrael sent out his cavalry, he never pushed the advantage with any infantry. He just sort of left his cavalry to die.
Yeah, and that is actually a decently common mistake. I've done that myself too, because you see an opening with the cavalry and you go like, let's see if this is gonna work. before I commit some infantry to it. But really, at the point you're committing your cavalry, especially in a game where your cavalry can get shot while they're moving forward, you need to back them up. But anyways, once again, great game to both opponents. We'll see Johannes in the next round, and I think that's it. Wouldn't you say so?
I think it is.
Okay, see you guys next time. Thank you for watching.